when they beat Missouri. I'm sure that after they got back from Missouri, they probably got their attention and came close to losing that game. You know, the thing that concerns me for Georgia is back-to-back games for that secondary. They've given up a lot of big plays through the air. Now, they've gone up against some pretty good quarterbacks, you know, and Georgia was up 35-7, and LSU was just slinging it. But still, you got to make plays, right, as a secondary. C.J. Stroud had maybe a career game against them. You know, his scrambling ability, the ability to keep plays alive. To me, the reason, if you fast forward that to Monday night, is Duggan has similar capabilities. He is a scrambler. He's a runner. They've got to account for his ability with his legs. And to be able to do that, you've got to bring an extra guy down. And to get an extra guy down, you've got to be one-on-one on the outside. And can those corners hold up one-on-one against Quinton Johnston and the rest of the playmakers they have? That to me is kind of the whole story of the game.
I'm going to do that comparison thing to early 2010s Alabama. People are doing that. I mean, does that kind of speak to what Kirby has built?
Kirby is now the standard. You know, whether he wins or not on Monday night, I think it's pretty clear if you're just being objective and fair with the job they do in recruiting every year. Most importantly, the job they do in developing players, the staff that he has. The fact that they don't ever take their foot off the gas, that is such a hard thing to do. And he learned that with Nick, you know, in the glory years there in Tuscaloosa, and he's brought that in his own way, with his own energy and his own way of coming up with ways to get guys mad and motivated. And I give him all the credit in the world. And if they win Monday night, it's not going to change me and where I am currently with Georgia. I think Georgia's the bar. Not that Alabama's gone or done. I just think Georgia's gotten to that point. And next year, I can't wait to watch how he gets them mad again. You know, win back-to-back. They'll come back next year. They'll be mad at the world again, feeling disrespected. And that's a credit to him and the approach that he has and the type of guys he recruits, too.
So much of the narrative around college football has been people only want to see the Blue Bloods play, but TCU's been one of the 10 most watched teams in the country.
Yeah.
Them being in this championship game, what does that mean for the long-term perspective for college football?
I think it's great. You know, and I think you're right. You bring up a good point about, you know, people thought Ohio State, Michigan might be here, Georgia and Michigan might be here, and here's TCU. And I think for the, I don't know what the term is, the casual college football fan, maybe there's like, oh, wow, what could have been? But I've done 2 TCU games, the Texas game in Austin, and then, of course, the Big 12 championship. It's really hard not to love the team, you know, because of what they have faced. Their story has been amazing. They didn't even have a vote in the preseason in the top 25. Their quarterback, who becomes a Heisman front-runner or a Heisman finalist, he wasn't even a starter after, you know, being around for 3 years as a guy that played a lot of football. And then he ends up having the year that he had. The team fought back how many times in the third and fourth quarter. So it's like the little engine that could, but inside that locker room, they believe. And so I think it's fantastic. I think it's a hell of a storyline. As far as what it does for, you know, as we expand to 12, who knows whatever. I mean, where's TCU going to be? Is there going to be a Big 12? Is there a Pac-12? Is there an ACC? I have no idea what the future is. But I think it does, imagining 12 teams in schools like TCU and Cincinnati last year, so good for the sport, not to just have Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State every single year. We want more opportunities and more teams like this to get in here. So I think it's good. It's exciting.
Win or lose, what do you think Stetson Bennett's legacy is, you know, for Georgia and for college football as a whole?
He's what every high school coach talks to every kid about. It's not a 5-star. I mean, more people can relate to Stetson Bennett than can relate to C.J. Stroud, right? Because here's a guy that, I mean, you know his story, that nobody, it's easy to sit here right now and talk about how great he is, but 4 years ago, nobody was talking about how great he is. And to be able to have that internal fire is incredible, to think that he could overcome his own coaches basically telling him twice, you're not good enough, and yet he just kept coming back. I mean, he's the ultimate underdog story. And here he is trying to win back-to-back national championships, something we've only seen twice in like 40 years. So he to me, I can't say enough good things about him. I love how he plays. Talking about being mad, I love how he gets mad. You know, he plays with a chip on his shoulder. And yet he's become the face of this program, you know, this year. And you know, when he's done playing, I think those of us who just objectively love the game will miss him a lot.
For you, when you just watching this Georgia team over the last few years, was there a moment that you realized he was, you know, better than maybe the expectations were for him, that the coaching staff had for him?
Yeah. Wow, that's loud.